Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I decided that I'm gonna do a month review of crafts and books and things that I've just been working on and finished for the month. So, some reviews. You can see here that I have some book nooks. So I have 2 book nooks here, and then this is just like one of those rooms that you build, and I have one that I finished in the month of February. So I have 2 book nooks that I finished in February, and then one of those room put together things that I put together here. I'm gonna first go over this one. Alright, so this is Kiki's Magic Emporium, and I bought this at Michael's, I believe, and I think it like retailed for about $40. I'm pretty sure I bought it at Michael's. I'm not positively sure. But anyways, this is how it's supposed to look. I did tweak it a bit, and like for the most part it kind of looks alike, but then I did place this like on the side here, and there are just like some things that I didn't really follow how it's supposed to look inside, but I don't think we have to keep it exactly the same, right? Because this is how we want to put it together. I would say that I did also make some mistakes. I probably should have maybe looked at this also as a reference to kind of help me know where things should be placed, but whatever, I think it turned out great. The only other thing that I did not get to work though is the light. So normally I'm pretty good with putting the lights together and getting it to work, but it didn't work out for some reason, and it may have just been because maybe I cut the wire wrong and twisted it incorrectly or something. I don't know, but I could have fixed it if I didn't glue everything down. So I had glued like the wire and everything down, and I didn't want to go through the whole thing of taking it all apart, because at that point I was exhausted from making this, because there are all these little tiny things that you have to put together, like these little boxes, like the paper, the scrolls and all that stuff. I mean, it's fun, but after a while when you keep doing it over and over and making all these mistakes, it kind of just gets tiring after a while. But I would say that this is actually, it was pretty fun to put together. It was a little time consuming because, you know, there are all these little tiny things that you kind of have to put together, which I didn't mind. I do like having all those little tiny things in the room, and I really like the room. I kind of wish that I had a workspace like this, because I kind of like the cluttered pieces of this, but all the drawers and the boxes and all of that, like I would really like to have stuff like that in my own office. But yeah, so I'll show you guys how it looks. Okay, so this is the final piece. So this part is movable. I did not glue this part down. There's only certain pieces that I glued down as well, because I didn't want it to fall off as I moved this around. And the reason that I didn't glue all of these down is because I know that my niece, when she comes over, she does like to play with these, and I do think that it would be fun for her to be able to like reorganize things if she wanted to. So yeah, this one is movable, and then all the material on the inside is also movable. One of my favorite pieces, oh, yeah, see, so it's a little hard. So this is movable, it's the book. This is also movable. It's like a little gem plate. And these gems came in individually, so I did have to glue them in. These 3 I glued because I didn't want to lose them. And then everything in here is like, you can take them out. But I would say, I think that this piece here is probably one of my favorite pieces in here. It's like this little potion, but it's so pretty. And you can kind of see my glue marks here. They did give us glue. So this is the type of glue that they gave us. It definitely came a long way. There's like still a lot more glue in here, and I actually like this glue. Pretty sure it's kind of toxic though, because it started to take off my nail polish when I was like getting it on my hands. And I like considered wearing gloves, but it's so hard. I would probably get so annoyed if I wore gloves. And then also I'm pretty sure the gloves would probably stick together if I got the glue on it. So I did end up using this glue for like the other 2 projects as well. This was actually my first one that I made in February. But yeah, this one is my favorite potion piece. I think it's just so cute. Basically, it's just this, I don't know, crystal piece and then this small little beaded piece. And I just had to glue the top on. That was pretty much it. And then I really like the individual paper pieces that we had. And then this is kind of like just a little flap here, but it's supposed to be like a little book or something. I ended up gluing like these paper pieces all over in here because I just kind of like the clustered look to it. And then the reason I had mentioned like this came as its own. So they put this together for me. I have quite a few jars as well. So they gave us like these little jars, and then I had to glue the sticker piece to it. So I don't know if you can read it. It might be too hard. This is another one. And I just put the topper in. And this is another one. So there are a few like jars in here that I kind of just hid in there. But these were the ones that I had kept in here. And I will say, like, some of these were kind of hard to glue on. I'm not gonna lie. Like, my chair is so poorly put together. I'm too embarrassed to show you guys. But this chair here, I had to put together by myself. Like, glue it all together. And it was so difficult. So I would say, like, there were some parts that were kind of hard to put together. Alright, so for the most part, most of these are glued in, but I wanted to show you guys just a few pieces of it. This is just, some of these parts like the hat, I didn't glue on. A lot of these part trinkets up here, I didn't glue on either. I wish I could put the light on, but I can't. These are the boxes. These are not glued in either. These do open up as well. And then we have this back piece here. These are all glued in. These drawers and everything, the frame is glued in. These papers, some of them you can take out. And yeah. So it was really, like, it was like really cool as it like came together as I was making all of these individually. I was a little nervous because I didn't think it was going to turn out. It actually turned out pretty nice. So I am so happy about it. And this is also going on my bookshelf. Okay, so this is the next book nook that I made. I thought this was so pretty. Like, if you look at this, I think this is so gorgeous. They have this pretty artwork here. It's so cute. I love it. And then there's also this other side. This is the other side, and this art is also so gorgeous. So I really like this. And then I'm gonna put on the light so you guys can see how the light looks. I got this for Christmas. My nephew had me as Secret Santa, and he bought me this, and it was honestly a few years ago. And here it is. Okay, so this was bought on Amazon. It came in this box, the Book Nook, and there are a few other designs. So there are other designs that they have. And I want all of them. So this is the one I have. I have this one. And then there are 3 other designs. So I think I might get them eventually. They are pretty pricey, I believe. So would I say if it's worth it? Yes, I do think it's worth it. So I would say the quality is very, very good. Like the pieces are very thick. So if I pull this out here, this is a chair. You can see that the thickness of it it's pretty thick, so it's really good quality. Some pieces though, I would say that they are kind of hard to put in, which I think they know that because it comes with this hammer. So, you know, for the pieces that are harder to put together, you just have to hammer it down, which I used this a lot, and I'm also keeping it. Like the material that I got for making these stuff, I did keep all of the material just in case I need it for my future. All right, so we do also get a booklet here. And it just goes, you basically just follow the instructions, okay? And they're numbered. It's also in Japanese. The instructions are in Japanese, but then they also have the English text here at the bottom. So, and like honestly, like you could seriously just follow the pictures and everything, and it'll tell you how to put it all together. This did not take me as long to put together compared to Kiki's Magic House, just because there wasn't that much tedious work that I had to put together by myself. A lot of these were already, you know, perfectly pre-made, perfectly fit together, so it was very easy. And then, because like I didn't have to like glue in these images, right? So it was very easy. The only things that I had to like glue together were the books. At a closer view, okay? So this is these book pieces. So this book piece here, I did have to glue together. And then these little books here, I had to also glue the covers onto the books, which honestly, not bad, not hard at all. You just have to cut out the paper and then just glue them right on. There are some books that I did not glue together because, like I said, my niece does like to play with these. This is an example of one of the books that I had to glue, and it's just like a small little piece of wood. And then all you do is just take the cutout piece of paper and just glue it on. Very simple, very easy. There's like a bunch of these books, so some of them I did glue down, and some of them I left not glued down, just so that way I can kind of move things around. You can see I have my shelf with some scrolls, some potions. So at the top here we got some scrolls. Just to kind of show you, it's just a piece of paper that I had to roll. I cut it out and rolled it like this, and then I just placed it at the top here. And then basically, the back here is just like the working desk, and there's some like, I don't know if you can see it, but back there's like some potions. I have like a few books in here as well. I have like a small tiny bookshelf. I wish I had like a better way to show it to you guys, but honestly this thing is so small. And then this is like a little drawer here. And then there is this back piece here. So going inside here, let's see if I can kind of track it here. So that's the upstairs. It's like another room. That thing in the middle, that circular thing, pretty sure that's like a potions pot, and that was really hard to put together. I actually it's supposed to be like a full round ball, but it was so hard to put together. I only did like half of it because all the other pieces broke. So you can see that it does look like it's full, but it's not. The other half is actually really empty. But yeah, so this is how it looks like, and I got the light to work in here, which was amazing. So I'll just do like a zoom in, so I apologize if it gets a little shaky. It's because it's so hard and I'm trying to make it track some pieces so you can see it. Some of these were glued in. They weren't, and then some pieces were where you could just like hammer in parts of it, and so some of those were hammered in as well. All right, so this is also going on my bookshelf. The only sad thing about this is that it has such nice art on the sides, but when I put it in my bookshelf, obviously it's like in between books, so you can't see the art, which I'm like so bummed about, but I guess it's okay. I mean, if people want to look at it, I can always just pull it out so they can look at it. And this I'm not worried about pulling out of my bookshelf, just because everything is in tightly. The only things that would fall out would be just the books and some of these papers. Okay, the last book nook I made was the Magic House. This one, I believe I got it from Michael's. I think it retailed for about $40. I can't really remember. It reminds me of Harry Potter. I don't know if this was a reflection of Harry Potter. It may have been. I'm not sure. It doesn't say Harry Potter or anything on there, but it definitely reminds me of Diagon Alley. And then instructions. Easy to follow as well. I do kind of wish that it was colored in though, because I think it's just like it's really helpful when it's colored in. But other than that, this, I would have to say, out of the three, this one was the easiest to put together. The only thing is, like, I would say the quality is better with this one, but putting it together, this one was the easiest because everything fit perfectly. However, it was a little bit flimsy for some pieces. Like, it's not as thick and it's not as hard as this one. I would say this one is actually the hardest to put together. It's the most tedious. This is how the box looks. And this was really what caught my attention, that back piece. The best thing about this, and I wish that all of the book nooks had this feature, because it doesn't have it for this one and it doesn't have it for this one. There's a power button right here that it turns on the light, so I don't actually have to pull out this book nook to turn on the light. I can easily just click on this power button and it turns on the light for me, and it's amazing, and it's honestly the best feeling ever. I definitely wish that they had more of those. I was kind of like confused at first when I was putting this together, because I was like, how am I supposed to turn the light on? There is a piece where we put the battery piece in the back, which is a little difficult to like take in and out. So I was kind of like, I don't want to have to like take it out all the time. And I didn't realize that there was a power button here. I mean, I saw it at first when I was starting to put this together, and I kind of just forgot about it. So yes, this is the best feature, I would say. So anybody out there that's trying to create these book nooks, like have your own creation, 1000 out of 10. Please have a power button here because it's amazing. All right. So anyways, like I said, this was by far the easiest to put together because everything just fits so nicely in here. And then, the material is nice, but it's not as thick and firm as that one. But putting it together was very easy, and it was also very quick. Like, I got done with this a whole lot faster than this one and the other one. So I'll give you like a little tour of what's inside. Let's see. So do you see that back part, that blue back part? That was the best part as well. I really like the blue in there. And then you can see that my light is shining in here. I do kind of wish that there was more lights, but then in a way, maybe it needs to kind of be dark. I don't know. And so these are just like some shops on the side. I don't know if I can really show it to you. Yeah. just some shops inside. They had like, so here on the inside, you can't really see, but there's like a little film in here. It was pretty cool that I could put that in there. I thought that was awesome. And there's this magic shop here. Just all these little like shops. I would love to see a place, like travel to a place that has like shops like this. So it's very narrow, so I can't really bring my camera in there because it's just gonna blur everything out. But once again, I'm trying to just track it. So yes, this was very easy to put together. There's really not much to show in here though, because it's really just like the stores on the sides and then that beautiful blue window there. That is pretty much it for this one. I'm gonna move this back here. Oh, okay. So it looks so nice. I really wish that I could turn that light on, but I can't. But I think I'm gonna leave these lights on for the rest of the video just because I think it looks beautiful. This is one of my paint by numbers here, and it turned out really nice actually. But then if you look closer, it's not it's not that great. But if you look at it from far away, it looks amazing. So these are going to be hanging up on my wall. I did 2 of them, so this is one of them, and this is like the actual picture of it, how it's supposed to look. I think I did pretty close to it. And then we have the bows and the strawberries. So this is the one I did first, and as if you look closely, yeah, it doesn't look that great. But once again, when it's far away, it looks amazing. So I would say these are pretty easy to do, to paint. However, some of the pieces that you have to paint, some of the parts that you have to paint are very small. So I had to like strain my eyes sometimes for some of these, but obviously, you know, we kind of had to get all like the different colors to blend in and everything. But I did have to take like a few breaks when I was painting this. But yeah, so I think it turned out really nice. I really like it. This is also going up on my wall as well. All right, the next thing that I worked on in February, I am really trying to get more focused on like crocheting and knitting as well. Knitting is probably going to take me a little bit to get used to just because I'm like struggling hardcore on knitting. But this, the Hookstionary book, it's a tapestry crochet type of crocheting, and it's by Brenda KB Anderson. And what really pulled me into this book was like the motifs that she has here. They're so cute. Like I've never really seen anything like this. So I picked it up. I also like the way that it's crocheted in here. It kind of gives that knit look to it, which is what I like and what I wanted. So in here, you know, obviously in the beginning here, you know, she just talks about like all the different types of crochet stitches that you could do. And then also there are examples here that she provides. And then also giving the stitch instructions here. And then here are all the different motifs that you can practice on. There were a few that I did practice on, and now that I'm looking at these, I wish that I did some other ones as well. Maybe when I have more free time I'll do it, but I would say that I did struggle a little bit with this. Like the instructions were good, but it was also kind of hard to follow. Like the instructions, it tells you where you're supposed to put your hook and all that great stuff, but then like some of the colors, like there's like pictures here, it was kind of hard to see for some of them. I made this swatch first, and you can see it's a little off. The reason it's off is because I practiced like the 5 different stitches that she has in here on one motif, so I can kind of see, you know, how it looks. And I was very surprised by how nice it looks. It's a star. Even though it looks a little off, it looks amazing. So I was really happy with this. This was the first one that I did. And then I wanted to try to like practice on different types of tapestry styles. So this is the one that I followed the book instructions, and this is supposed to be an ice cream cone. I don't know if you can really see it, but I like the V look. I like the V. It kind of reminds me of like the knit look. This one, I did like the single crochet type of stitches for this. I did examples of these to kind of see what kind of stitch I like better. Is it the one that's in this book? Is it the single stitch one? And then this one is the cross stitch version. And basically all I did was a single stitch the entire this entire background piece to it, and then I just cross stitched the the image on here. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the cross stitch, but maybe if I had used a thicker yarn, it may actually look a lot better, because you can kind of see like the pink in here, and I didn't really like that. But yeah, so these are the 3 different versions that I was playing with to kind of see what type of stitches I like and would prefer. And then I also did like another, just started practicing her different motifs. This was like a candy wrapper. So I'll show you. So this is how it looks like. Kind of hard to see, but I tried to follow the bonbon here. So I basically just practiced and made this image here. So it does kind of look like it. I mean, if you didn't see this, like if you didn't see the bonbon example here, you probably would not know, because it's kind of hard to see, I think. And also, like, I don't think I was really paying attention as I was doing this, but I made a few mistakes with it. But whatever, it turned out nice. I think I like it. And then I also did the coffee mug. So that I used this pattern. So it's this one. So yeah, there's a few more in here that I actually want to play around with to continue on practicing. Alright, the last topic I'm going to go over are the books that I finished in February, but then I'm also including January just because I only read 1 book in January and then 2 books in February. So in January, I am so happy that I started off the year with reading Alchemized by Shenlin Yu. And she was the author of Manacled, which is like a fan fiction, is what I am understanding. So, fan fiction of Harry Potter and, I mean, not Harry Potter, sorry. Fan fiction of Hermione and Draco Malfoy. And I heard like great things about it. I did not read it. Basically, she came out with Alchemized. I don't really know the similarities between the two. I think I heard that it was basically the same thing. Alchemized is basically the same thing as Manacled, except she had to change like a few things just because obviously she can't copy like Harry Potter. And like some people said that it basically was like a character name change and just a few things that changed. But anyways, yeah, I didn't read Manacled, and I've heard a lot of like reviews, people that have read both Manacled and Alchemized. They kind of seem like they like Manacled better, but I don't know. Like, they could be biased, or maybe really manacled is better. I don't know, to be honest. And I'm actually really glad that I did not read both of them, because I think I would have really missed out on a really good book, Alchemized. I would be happy to read Manacled. I don't know where to get a copy of it, but I think that Alchemized was such a good book. I'm so happy that I started the year off with reading this book, because I still think about this book to this day. Like, this book was so good. I love the storyline, the plot, everything. The characters, like Helena and Cain, I love them so much. But yeah, so follows Helena and Cain. Helena is on the resistance side, so like the good side. And then there's Cain, who is on like the bad side. And so basically, the resistance, they end up losing, okay? And it's just a really sad story. The war that they went through is just crazy sad. And it talks about the war, but it's not like fully focused entirely like on the war, like the fights and all that. Like, it gets talked about, but it's more focused on, I felt like it was more focused on like the story of Helena and Cain, their love story, and then also how they helped out in the war, which was basically everything. To me, it was like everything. They did everything for the war, and they sacrificed so much for the war, and they came out so broken, and it was just so sad and devastating to read, honestly. I think I was like, I could not put the book down. I needed to see what happened. And this was like all I really thought about the entire month of January, and then the good half of February, and I had a hard time picking up another book because of it, to be honest. And yeah, so I love the relationship between Helena and Cain. Like, they matched up so well in here, and I just thought they were like perfect together, and they struggled so much because of the love and care that they have for each other. But then, like, Helena also loved and cared for the people on the rebellion side as well. She had so much faith in them, and it's just so sad that with what had happened to them. It's also really interesting to see, because like Helena is like so intelligent, and it's just crazy to see like what the amount of effort that she put into the war, and how it also kind of backfired in a way, because the things that she did, the enemies were able to also use against them. And it was just crazy how that whole thing happened. And Cain, like, that man is so in love, and he loves so great. It's so crazy and sad what he went through as well. He definitely went through like hell, and his love for Helena is just, there are no words to express how much he loved her. It was just so sad. I felt so sad for him. I was so miserable for him, like, with what he had to go through. So basically, there are 3 parts to this book. There is the first part, which is like the present, and then the second part, which is the past, and then the third part is like the present going to the future. And a lot of people did say, like, you should read through the first part because it's the present, right? So you don't really know what's going on. There are characters that are being brought in that you don't know any backstory or history on it. The magic system, it definitely was hard to understand and read. It's been a while since I read like fantasy books. I read romance books, but I would have to say that I was not focused much on the magic system. I was more focused on Helena and Cain and their love story and their life that they went through. The middle part of the book, the second part, is the past. So that's when they bring up all those characters, and then how Helena and Cain came to be, and then like a little bit of like information and snippets of the war here and there. The third part is them coming back to the present and then working their way to the future. So people said to read like the part 1 and then read part 2 and then go back to part 1, and then some people said to go back to, then you can start reading part 3. Some people said go back to part 2 and then finish off part 3. I did not have patience to do any of that. I will say that after I read part 2, I did go back to part 1 to just kind of like reread certain parts to kind of put some things together. But I would say like part 1, I don't think was that large. So if you can kind of remember like what happened in part 1, like when you read part 2, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. After I did like a few snippets of reading in part 1, after reading part 2, I just went straight to part 3 because I needed to see what happened, because these two were so determined and miserable and sad and suffered so much in life that I needed to know that something good came out at the end. And while it was like good news, it was also very sad and devastating news. The other thing is that, the author does touch on like war and the struggles and torture that they go through, and the aftermath of it. And it's like, when you're not in the war, physically in the war, it's hard to fully understand and think about and grasp some of that. So yeah, I love this book. I would highly recommend reading it. I think it was amazing. It's a great storyline. The characters are amazing. All right, so in February, I read Exodus by Kate Stewart. This is the Ravenhood series. This is the second book. So last year I read Flock towards the middle of last year, and after I had read the first book, I ended up moving. So we had to move, and it was a big move, and I was so busy with moving and like trying to decorate and set up my new home, that I just did not read at all. I don't think I read after that. But yeah, so as I'm getting back into reading, I was like, okay, I have to read this next, because after reading Flock, I needed to see what was going on, what happens after. I will say, in my personal opinion, I kind of feel like it does drag a little bit. It kind of takes a while to get to the point, and then when it gets to the point, it's like a chapter long, and then it moves on. And I wasn't really like into that. It just took too long to get to the point. I was like, really, as I was reading, I was just like, okay, like I need to know what's going on. It needs to get to the point. Like it's dragging too long. And I completely understand we gotta do like the character building and relationship building and all that great stuff. It just was a little bit way too long for me. So basically it follows a girl named Cecilia. She has a very rich dad who she doesn't even know. And like they have a sad backstory too. But anyways, so she has to go spend the summer with him, so that way she can get a lump sum of money from him. So she can inherit it, because he had a deal with her that she had to work at his plant for the summer or something like that. I can't really remember now at this point. And she like basically had to fulfill her duties to what the agreement was, and then he would grant her the money. And she did it because she was with her mom, and her mom was definitely going through like some mental issues, and she wanted to get help for her mom, and of course you need money for that. So that's why she did it for her mom. And while she's there, she ends up falling in love with these two men, Sean and Dominic, and then it goes about their whole love story in the book of Flock. And I felt like it took forever to get to the point, to be honest. And when I got to the point, it was like towards the end, the boss of Sean and Dominic comes into play at the very end. And then this book is about Cecilia and Tobias and their love story. Sean, I feel like he's like a playboy, but he's like a really sweet guy. And then there's Dominic. He's a little toxic as well, but he's also a very sweet person when he loves and cares for Cecilia, and very protective. And so it's just like, I'm not into the whole like sharing, right? So she ends up being shared by these two men in Flock. And basically they fall in love with the enemy's daughter, okay? And it was like a big betrayal, and I would say setback to the purpose of the Raven Hood, because the Raven Hood is basically like Robin Hood, okay? They're trying to take down the rich and powerful people that are corrupt. Tobias, who is the older brother of Dominic, and basically these three guys, they're like brothers, except Dominic and Tobias those two are truly brothers. And Tobias is like the big boss, the head of the Raven Hood. They follow his orders, and Tobias finds out what's happening, and he ends up punishing Dominic and Sean and sends them away in the beginning of this book. So they're gone. And this book is basically the relationship between Cecilia and Tobias, and then how Cecilia came to be as an adult. She is like super young in Flock, like straight out of high school, super young. Here in the beginning of this, she is still young. And so I completely understand, like, we've all been 19, 20. If you're not, maybe don't read this book yet, because there's like a lot of smut and it's toxic and drama. It's crazy. Yeah, we've been there young and dumb and thought we were in love and did things because of love and all that stuff, and have regrets and everything, and then grow older and then realize, okay, yeah, like that was stupid of us. But then also, like, we learned from it, hopefully learned from what we went through when we were younger, and hope to be better as adults. So anyways, basically is what happens here with Cecilia. But the thing was that this is just so toxic. The relationship is so toxic. I really do not like Tobias. A lot of people like him. I am one of those people that don't, and I really wanted to like him. I did get attached to like Sean and Cecilia in the beginning, and then like I was like, okay, maybe like Cecilia and Dominic would be better. I was never like Cecilia and Tobias are good together at all. Not once in this book ever. I just don't think that they're a good match at all. Like, they're just maybe physically attracted to each other. Tobias is extremely smart and intelligent, but he's like extremely mean. Like, I don't know why you would want to be with the mean person, while I understand why he was mean. The thing is that Tobias knew everything that was going on in Cecilia's life. Like, he understood the backstory and everything, and he decided to keep it a secret to her. And then when she found out the truth about a lot of things, he was like, yeah, I know. Like, he was kind of playing her in a way for his own benefit. And also his reason was that he didn't want to hurt her. Like, dude, you should have told her the truth so she could not have like regrets and stuff like that. Because I'm sure she went through things where she had some regrets and stuff like that. And it was just like, if you could have just been upfront with her, maybe I would have liked him a little bit better. But he like waited until everything was said and done, and then she had to figure everything out herself. And then he was like, oh yes, yeah, like, it's true, I already know that. So very frustrating. Like I said, I can understand why he did it, but then at the same time, if you truly loved her and you wanted the best for her and wanted her to be sane, like, you should have protected her better and told her the truth. But he didn't. He waited until she figured it out herself. So anyways, that's my rant. Like, if somebody did that to me, I would hate you forever. On TikTok, everybody talks about this book, and they talk about, the rainy day. Okay, everybody knows, like, if you didn't catch it, Dominic dies, okay, unfortunately. I am like so upset that I understand that this is a love story between Cecilia and Tobias, but like I was like so upset. It was just like the relationship was so about Cecilia, Sean, Cecilia, Dominic, and then Sean and Dominic, and you know how those two are like tight brothers and everything. And then all of a sudden Tobias comes in and he basically takes over of everything, like the love story, the business, all of that. It's just, he came out of nowhere. He's mean, toxic. And then Sean and Dom comes back for like a chapter, and then Dominic dies. I was really upset about that. And then I just could not read it after that. I was just so upset. And I had a hard time reading the rest of the book, but I forced myself to read it. And at the end of it, I was just really sad, but also content as well, because then obviously she ends up with one of them, which is Tobias. Like, yeah, I mean, it's, people are talking so much about this book, like, that's a spoiler, okay? She ends up with Tobias here in the end of this book, and I'm content with it, okay? I don't want to read anymore. I just felt so betrayed for Dominic and Sean as well, and they had a better relationship with her than Tobias did, I feel like. But yeah, I was content with the end of this book. You know, her and Tobias end up being together, and there's like a scene at the end where they kind of like get a consent from Dominic, because it ends up like starts to like rain at the end of the book, kind of giving them his blessing and whatever. Sean gets married and has children, and he's like happy. I don't want to read the next book and hear like resentment or regrets, because if I read the next book and that is what it is, yeah, I'm not having that. So they ended, like, they left, like, Cecilia left Sean, I think, on a good note. Sad, but good note. She ends up being with Tobias, which was who she truly wanted to be with. I'm happy with that. She gets Dominic's car. I'm happy with that. She gets kind of, basically, she gets that closure. And so I am good with how this book ended. I mean, I'm not happy about it, but I'm content. The second book that I read in February, which is also the last book, is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. And I really enjoyed this book. I actually could not even put it down. So, like, I read this like in 3 days, I think. And if I wanted to, if I had the time, I think I could have finished this in one sitting, because that was also how good it was, but also very easy to read and follow. So this follows Brianna and Jacob. They are both doctors, and basically these two go through, they have like a really sad past, okay? She's divorced. I think she was getting divorced. I think she was getting divorced in the beginning. So she was going through a divorce, and then she also had a brother that was going through kidney failure. So she was trying to take care of her brother. And then he had a really sad past where he went through a recent breakup, and his ex-girlfriend was actually engaged to his brother. And so he was working at a hospital with his ex-girlfriend and his brother. He ends up leaving the hospital to go work at the hospital that Brianna works at. And so Brianna is trying to get her promotion, to get higher, to get I forgot what position it was, but the person that was originally working there was retiring, and so everybody was expecting her to get that promotion, to get that position. He comes in, and he actually had that title in his original at the other hospital that he was working at. And so she goes to talk to the man that was retiring, and thought that they were going to talk about her getting that position, but then he ends up saying that Jacob was new, and that he might be up for that position too. So it may be between those two people, because he was like, let's see how the hospital staff feels about him as well, to kind of give him a chance, basically to give him a chance, right? So she kind of feels blindsided, but yeah, so she thinks that Jacob is trying to take her job. So she kind of sees him as an enemy already, and this guy is he's literally just trying to live and just trying to live each day, every day, and just like, he's so introverted that he has like this personality that I can relate to, because I'm introverted as well. And so like how he is, I was like, oh my gosh, I can understand like why he gets anxiety and why he gets so nervous and stuff like that, because he has like anxiety when he goes to noisy, busy places. He goes and stays in a closet to like for his lunch and stuff like that, or like to like, you know, kind of get his peace. And he ends up going into the same closet that Brianna also goes into to kind of de-stress. And so like that's kind of like their place. And very quickly, even though like she sees him as an enemy and he's like blindsided, doesn't know why she sees him that way, they both kind of just like start talking through giving each other notes. Before they actually get into a relationship, he hears about her brother needing a kidney transplant. And this guy is just so loving and so giving. And he decided to take the test just to see if he matched. And, you know, it was going to be just a secret thing that he was doing. He didn't want her to feel like, you know, like indebted to him or anything like that. He ends up being a match, and so he sees how great of a person Brianna is, that he decides to just do it, to give his kidney away to give one of his kidneys to her brother. He wanted to keep it a secret, but then she ended up finding out that he was the donor. And around that time was when he has sisters as well, quite a few sisters, and they kind of like blacklisted his brother because, you know, he's marrying his ex-girlfriend. And so like the parents and the sisters are like pestering him in a way and like checking up on him and seeing if he's moved on. He ends up lying that he has a girlfriend and that she works at the same hospital that he works at, and that's why he ended up going to that hospital, was to be closer to his girlfriend. Basically does a whole lie. So anyways, she finds out about it because he was kind of like, oh, you know, like he was supposed to bring her to their Sunday dinner thing that his family does, and he was supposed to bring his girlfriend, and so he kind of asked her for the favor. And of course she, you know, cares so much for him because she realizes that he's such a good person and that he was like donating his kidney for her brother, that she decides to go along with it. She adjusts very well to her environment, and is very good at talking to people. They end up like pulling it off. So I think that in the beginning of the book, he still had feelings for his ex-girlfriend. But as these two continue to write to each other and continue to be in this fake relationship, obviously they end up falling for each other. He has a hard time trying to read her, trying to understand if she does like him or not. And then she's also like focused on him, just trying to get over his ex-girlfriend, and that he is still so in love with her. So she's also kind of like not reading him right either. And I think it gets to like maybe the middle of the book is when they actually confess to each other. I thought that this book was so cute, and it does bring up a lot of like real world personal issues that people go through and trauma that people go through. And I really liked their relationship. It was not toxic at all, and it was just a really sweet story between these two. Also, Abby Jimenez, I have to say, shout out to her. I'm Hmong, and she mentioned that, so Jacob's sister is married to another girl, and that girl is Mung. So I was really shocked. I had to reread it like multiple times to be sure that it said Mung in there. Like, it was crazy, but I was just like, oh my gosh. Even it was like just a short snippet, and it just meant a lot to me. This book alone made me a huge fan of Abby Jimenez. Like, the storyline, the characters, everything. I loved it. The relationship, everything. Like, it was amazing. But to see that she just added in a Hmong person, like, that was just the icing on the cake. Like, I was just like a bigger fan of hers. And I bought her other 2 books. So yes, I plan on reading more of her books. So that is all I had for my monthly craft and things that I finished in the month of February. Let me know if there's any crafts that you guys want me to check out and work on. If there are any other book nooks that you guys would recommend, please let me know. I am so into building them. And I, would be happy to like test some out if you guys have some that you guys are curious about and you want to know if it's worth it or not. I'm so for that. Also, let me know if there's any books that you guys would highly recommend. I have so many books that I want to read. I honestly wish that I could just do this for a living. Like, do all these crafts, read all these books, focus on my business. Like, it's so hard. But I do have to pay my bills, so I'm still working my 9 to 5 right now. But the hope is to be able to eventually be more successful with my business and then also with my YouTube. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what your favorite craft was, what your favorite books are. Maybe I'll look into those books as well. And then anything that you would recommend me testing out or working on in regards to like crafts. Also, like, any books you would recommend. And then also currently my business is focused on bags and accessories, so if there's anything that you think would be helpful for you guys that you guys would like to buy, let me know what that is, and maybe I can try to think of something to do for you. All right, well, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.